We've always looked to the ocean for answers, but what if we could actually ask it a question? Well, today we're diving into a project that does just that. It blends art, AI, and science to literally start a conversation with the ocean itself. So just take a second and think about that. If you could ask the ocean anything at all, what would it be? And more importantly, what do you think it would say back? This is the exact question that kicked off the Sensorium Arc project. It's this incredible attempt to stop just collecting data about the ocean and start a real dialogue with it. The thing is, the ocean is speaking to us all the time. It's just that its language is, well, it's data. We're talking vast, complex data sets from places like NASA, telling stories through chemical changes and temperature shifts. The problem? That's a language most of us don't really connect with. On a gut level, we have the facts, but we're missing the feeling. Okay, so how do you build a bridge between that cold data and real human feeling? How do you even begin a conversation with something as huge as the ocean? Well, the answer starts with a single, surprisingly personal gesture. And this is the Translator Sensorium Arc. It's an interactive art installation with one main goal: to take all that abstract data and turn it into something we can actually feel and respond to. It's really where the data meets the soul. So, here's how it works. You walk up to this large, beautiful, nautilus-shaped shell. As you get closer, a sensor picks you up, and the shell starts to glow this brilliant blue. You lean in, you whisper your question right into it, and boom, a microphone activates. The conversation has officially started. The ocean is now listening. All right, so you've asked your question. What happens next? How does an ocean even answer? Well, this is where some really clever AI comes into play, acting as the system's brain and its voice. At the very heart of this thing is a technology called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. Now, I know it sounds super technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of letting an AI just search the whole internet for an answer, you give it a curated, hand-picked library to read from. This makes sure the answers are super focused and really, really relevant to one thing: the ocean. And just check out what's in this AI's library. It's not just the hard science from NASA, the data on CO2 levels and sea temperatures. It's also fed eco-art, philosophy, and these incredibly poetic writings from the eco-artist Newton Harrison. It's this amazing blend of science and art that lets the AI answer with not just facts, but with a real sense of depth and poetry. And get this, it's not just one AI doing all the heavy lifting. Think of it more like a team of specialized AI agents working together. First, you've got the decider agent. It listens to your question and figures out the best way to visualize the answer. Then, the rewriter agent cleans up your question so the database can understand it perfectly. And finally, the responder agent takes all of that info and crafts the ocean's final poetic voice. It's like a little digital assembly line for creating insight. So we have the shell, we have the AI brain. What does all this actually create? Well, this is where we get to see the real magic happen. That moment when cold, hard numbers get transformed into a living story you can actually see and hear. And this really gets to the core of the whole project. On one hand, you've got the old way of looking at things, through spreadsheets, charts, and numbers that can feel, pretty abstract. But on the other hand, you have the Sensorium Arc approach, which turns it all into a living conversation, a visual story that actually connects with you on an emotional level. It's a total game changer. So, what does this look like in practice? Imagine you ask about the life in the sea. The system might respond by projecting these beautiful, swirling green patterns all over a globe. What you're seeing is the real-time concentration of chlorophyll. It's literally the breath of the ocean's plant life brought to life right in front of you. Or maybe you ask a bigger question, something about climate change. The system could then layer different data sets on top of each other, showing you exactly how the CO2 in the atmosphere is interacting with the flow of ocean currents. You're not just being told they're connected, you're seeing that connection happen. It's powerful stuff. But look, this is about so much more than just making data look pretty. What this project is really getting at is a fundamentally new way for us to relate to our own planet. This quote from the project's creators just nails it. They're trying to completely reframe what sustainability even means. It's not just some technical problem we need to solve with charts and metrics. Instead, it's a shared cultural practice, something we build together in partnership or co-authorship with the non-human world. So you end up with this fascinating three-way dialogue. We bring our human curiosity, our empathy, our moral questions, The AI brings its incredible power to crunch data and synthesize it all into a consistent voice for the ocean. And the result? It's a totally new way to build our ecological imagination and, you hope, a deeper sense of responsibility. All right, so let's bring this all home. What's the big takeaway for us and for the future of AI? This project really points toward a new and, I think, profound role for this technology. And that brings us to this final, powerful question. We spend so much time and energy thinking about how AI can serve us, answer our questions, solve our problems. But a project like Sensorium Arc suggests a totally different path. What if AI's most important job isn't to talk, but to translate, to be a mediator? What if its greatest purpose is to finally help us listen to the silent voices of our world?